Greetings and welcome to the Master Phil in Your Corner podcast. This is episode number 77 called The State of Our Cities. Can we survive? So, when I first started this podcast, my goal was to raise awareness, about fitness, health, self-reliance, self-protection, and so forth. But then, I realized that we needed more. And we have to get to the root of some of these issues and some of these problems to really bring awareness to everyone to be able to defend yourselves, protect yourselves, and secure your health. So before we get down to business here, let's thank our sponsors. Okay. So first, I'd like to let you all know that next weekend, November 6th, Alex Wilkie, Guy Villela, and myself will be conducting a 3-hour edge weapon and stick seminar. So definitely sign up. Go to my Facebook, or just go to PayPal, pay the fee, $100 fee. It's a Phil Ross MMA1 at gmail.com on PayPal, or you can just simply go to Venmo and remit the payment there, and that's at Master Phil Ross. So check it out. If you need other information, just feel free to hit me up, shoot me an email, private message me on Facebook, Instagram, or any of those other outlets that I'm on. I'm kettlebell _ King on Facebook, and also on Instagram, or you can just go to Phil Ross or Master Phil Industries on Facebook. So let's continue thanking the sponsors. So we have philross.com, and on philross.com, we have virtual training, one-on-one, in-person seminars as well. So we focus on kettlebells, body weight, defensive tactics. We have Secrets of Kettlebell Training, the Kettlebell Workout Library, and Survival Strong. We also have the Body Bell Method, the world's only kettlebell body weight and dynamic tension certification based upon the minimalist approach to strength, health, and fitness. And we also have it certified by ACE and NASM, soon to be ISSA, for continuing education credits for levels 1 and 2. Products for training, also on the philross.com site. We have the link to Dragon Door. You want to check that out for kettlebells, ISO chains, books, all types of other equipment. We also have Fit Team for shakes and supplements for keeping that weight down, the energy up. We also have Burn Along. I'm a featured instructor on Burn Along, along with my lovely wife, and she's on a Master Phil channel there. So there's me and over 2,000 other instructors. Check it out. P3 Training Group. Plan, prepare, and protect. Plan, prepare, protect. So check out the site, p3traininggroup.com. And Health is a Wealth. You got to get yourself on that. It's free to join this platform. It's an interactive health, fitness, and wellness community outreach platform. Check out healthisawealth.com. And the zwinningmindset.com. We have group and one-on-one training for athletes, executives, and anyone who wants to gain the winning edge. Check us out, zwinningmindset.com. PPV Flicks, that's pay-per-view flicks. The owners of Warrior Island have launched a fitness and wellness video training platform, and we have all the stuff available, certifications and so forth. Education, I'm one of the educators on the site. Come check it out. And if you want to be a sponsor or see any or listen to any of the prior Master Phil in Your Corner podcast, definitely check us out, Master Phil in Your Corner. And of course, you can always contact me directly. All right, so let's get into our program today. We have a lot to cover, folks, a lot to cover. And it's gotten to the point where, our cities are really not safe. Just me personally, we live in very close proximity to New York City. I can see the city every day when I drive on Route 17, and gosh, it's only about 19 miles, 18 miles away. Heck, I can get to Brooklyn in, it's like 38 miles away, but, it could take me up to 2 hours to get there with traffic and so forth. But the city is very close. And what's happening now, some of this crime is coming out of the city and spreading more and more to the suburbs. We'll get into that in a little bit, though. But you know, things have changed quite a bit. You know, I used to love going into the city, and you know, when I was younger, in the in the 1970s and the 80s, as a teen, a young man, you know, I used to have a great time going to the city, and it was dangerous, though. There was an element of danger, but I will tell you definitely that things are worse now. And I honestly, I really don't care what the softened, slightly skewed statistics put forth, but there's definitely a different climate. And, things have changed somewhat because back then, at least people had some manner of respect. Right? You during those earlier decades when it was rough, prior to the Giuliani days, people were at least respectful of cops, if not a tad fearful. Cops would be able to apply like street justice and so forth, and you knew the areas to stay away from. Heck, when you go into Little Italy, even though it was controlled by the so-called mafia, allegedly controlled by the mafia, it was a pretty safe place to go. Back then, there was some sort of honor among thieves, that now somebody's going to kick a grandmother down a flight of stairs just to get her cell phone. Back in the day, you might have got your butt whooped by your compatriots for doing something like that. But now there's just no honor, and the pulse was definitely different then. And like I said before, there's areas and sections you knew to stay away from. You knew that you could be in trouble going there. But now it's kind of like a free for all. People walking to work, people just getting on a subway. It's terrible. They get kicked into the way of the subway, thrown onto the tracks, beaten on the subway. Happening right on the streets. You walk down the streets, you can be in Times Square in a very busy area, and people just get beat up, mugged, stabbed, shot. Who knows? But why is this happening? Well, in my estimation, there's several factors. Mental illness. So all the asylums are closed. There's no place for any of these people to go. You have that cashless bail where they just dump the criminals onto the street just to commit more crimes. And also the wanton use and abuse of narcotics. With these THC levels are far higher than the innocuous marijuana of decades ago, and it's destroying the minds of our youth. It's one thing if you have somebody older, lighting up a joint here and there. It's a little bit different than these young people vaping marijuana with this high concentrated THC. It's causing psychosis, and then heck, you don't know what it's laced with, and even though it's legal, there's still ways to get it through the black market, right? That just opens it up even more. But this is a subject for another podcast. But I'm still, even though I think the statistics are a little light, we're still going to talk about them. Because let's just look at the murders right now. The murders, 2020. The U.S. murder rate rose 30% between 2019 and 2020. 30%. Oh, by the way, it's increased since 2020 as well. We'll show some of that. It's the largest single year increase in more than a century. And now this data was just published a month ago, according to this article. And the murder rate went up in September as well. So the CDC tracks murders by analyzing information contained in the death certificates. And the FBI tallies murders by collecting the information from thousands of law enforcement agencies across the country. Oh, by the way, Chicago and New York really haven't put forth those statistics yet. So again, they're a little skewed. They haven't shown they haven't given the full information to the FBI. So the U.S. murder rate during the pandemic year, 2020, even if you look at it, the rate itself remained well below the level of earlier decades. There's many things that are contributing to this. Again, not only the cashless bail, but the ceasing of the stop and frisk and so forth. So, but again, There's a lot of podcasts to do. We'll get into them. So it's a year-over-year increase in the U.S. murder rate in 2020 was the largest since 1905. That's crazy. Okay, so we're seeing this dramatic rise. So now let's look now what's going on here, just in New York City. Okay? So for the month of July 2022, the number of overall shooting incidents increased in New York City compared with July of 2021. Oh, and 2021 was higher than 2020. So it's highlighting the continued need to eradicate gun violence and end the perception among criminals that there are no consequences for violent crimes. I mean, there really aren't. There's none. But now they want to put laws on people being able to carry guns, which is a constitutional right to protect themselves. They're putting up these laws in different areas not to have them. I wonder if the criminals are going to pay attention to that. Let's ponder that for a moment. They're criminals. They don't care about the law. Okay. So citywide shooting incidents increased 13.4%. 13.4%, 178 versus 157. Okay, so there's upticks in Brooklyn, South Queens, Staten Island. Additionally, the number of murders citywide increased for the month. Are you ready for this? By 34.3%. Let's do the math. Now, we said murders were up over 30% in 2020. They went up from 2020 to 2021. And now 2021 to 2022, they went up another 34%. There's going to be nobody left. So, in continuing the effort to stop New Yorkers from being victimized of violence, the New York NYPD has seized more than 4,300 firearms year to date in 2022. So, I don't know, how's that working out? It still seems like the crime rate is going higher and higher. Okay? I mean, there's tons of other statistics on this. Do a little digging into it, and check it out. Again, I used to love going to the city all the time, but not only is murder up, but robbery is up 37.2%. Burglary is up 25.6%. Now, remember, these statistics are just from this year, and it's been increasing steadily since 2020. So if you look at the increase, every time it increases, so this could be like almost a 40-50%, at least a 40, but even could be up to a 50% increase from 4 or 5 years ago. Let's look at Chicago so far. Chicago so far this year, that's in July. Okay, 448 murders so far, and that's just of July. And there were 800 in 2021. 800. Okay. Philly, a much smaller city. It's a much smaller city. In 2021, 562 murders. July 2021. I'm sorry. It's total for 2021. But so far in Philly, July, 443. So you look at these upticks. You look at the crime stats. Here, let's look at another city. How about San Francisco? Right? A city I absolutely used to love to go. Get a little water. I used to love to go visit San Francisco. I'll tell you straight up, I've probably been there close to 24 times. I used to love going to the city and wonder, why? How come it's so clean? Back in the 80s, I used to go 80s and 90s, and I said, gosh, you compare this to New York City, the Bay Area, rapid transit, the BART was always so clean, safe, and nice. The streets were clean. Yeah, it's a smaller city, but it was incredibly fun. I never felt like I was ever in any danger. Now you take your life in your hands when you go there. The murder rates up, the smash and grab groups, just driving up and smashing and grabbing. I mean, it's gotten so bad that people leave their trunks to their car open. Please don't trash my car. Just take what you want. Wow. You know, that's the point that's gotten to. Hey, look, look what just recently happened. Look what recently happened. Uh, Paul Pelosi, the famed husband of Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. They're part of the group that is they advocate the defunding the police. Yeah, how's that working out? So I mean, he was subject to a horrific attack in his own home. In his own home, he was attacked by a maniac with a hammer, and he was able to kind of trick the guy to stave him off a little bit, and he called 911 and had the 911 call open while he was getting attacked. But it still took the police over 5 minutes to get there. So what does that tell you? Here he was under attack, calling the police, okay, under attack, calling the police. They hear, they're getting there. But remember, folks, remember this. It takes the police minutes to respond when seconds count. I mean, the guy was lucky to survive because a lot of people are killed by hammers, and he was literally getting hammered. So, what can we do? Well, I'll tell you one thing. We have to make certain that people are able to protect themselves. You should be able to carry a firearm. And if you live in an area that does not permit that, either move or vote the people in who are going to permit you to protect yourselves. You can't rely on the police. The police are reactive, not proactive. It's not their fault. It's just the way it is. Even people who can have walls, and guys like Nancy Pelosi, I know has a wall around her house, but they can't protect you. We don't have bodyguards 24/7 around us. We have to protect ourselves. And if people are stripping us of those rights, that says a lot about them. Not only that they're hypocrites, but the fact that they don't care about you. Okay. They care about getting reelected and keeping their thumb down on us and not allowing us to protect ourselves. So let's say you live in an area that does not permit you to protect yourself with a firearm, or maybe there's some other reason that you cannot. Well, what else can we do? You can become aware and be prepared. Okay. Oh, other than either voting them out or moving. So let's say you can't move, okay, or you don't want to for a variety of reasons. You have to be prepared. So when we talk about being prepared, I follow the 5 P's. Okay. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you have to be prepared. Preparation gets you ready for any assault that may come. So you have to be prepared. You have to have your ducks in a row. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Victory does not favor the righteous nor the wicked. Victory favors the prepared. So get prepared. How are we going to do that? Well, you have to train, and train for real. Okay, if you're taking some fluff karate, strip mall karate, where they're wasting time with you on all this nonsense, or trying to fill your mind with esoteric thoughts of techniques that don't work, you're wasting your time. Go train a real art. Learn how to get hit and how to hit. Learn how to choke and learn how to fight out of a choke. Learn how to throw someone and not be thrown. Okay, you have to train for real. You have to get in there with some wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, get some boxing, some Muay Thai, some kickboxing, something like that. You have to know what it's like to rock and roll. Okay, maybe that's not for everyone. Okay, but at least get yourself some pepper spray. Get some pepper spray and learn how to use it. And when you do it, you make the sign of the cross, because it's an inflammatory to mucus membranes. So you want to make sure that it'll permeate up. So if you spray across their chest and it goes up into their eyes and nose and mouth, it's going to make it difficult for them to breathe. And you walk around them, and then You should be able to throw a kick or a punch as well, because you may have to, and you may have to do something to give yourself some space as well. Also, learn how to use a knife. Learn how to use a club. Learn how to use a gun. Learn how to protect yourself. We have to really get away from this notion of, oh, that's violent, I don't want to do it. You know what? Well, when someone's banging your head off the hood of your car, they don't care about where you got your hair done, where you went to college, who you hang out with. They're just going to take what's yours, because they believe they're entitled to it. Right? So, what this is, you're doing this to protect yourself. I was listening to a podcast with Jordan Peterson, and he was talking with this guy, and this guy saying about virtue, and people don't fight. People who don't fight is because they're virtuous and blah 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 blah. No, they're not. They're not fighting. They're avoiding the conflict because they're scared, because they're weak. You have to make yourself strong. Now, if you're strong and you don't fight except in self-protection, well, that is virtuous. Then you are exerting and adopting a virtue, just like the knights, like chivalry back in the day, because the knights, had this power, but they didn't abuse that power. If they abused that power, is incorrect. But they had the power. They were fierce. They were formidable. So if you are a formidable human being, if you can protect yourself, if you can protect your loved ones, because of what you know and how you've trained, then that is demonstrating virtue. But if you're not doing it just because, oh, I don't want to be violent and so forth, you know what? I think that's a little passe, because at this point, you have to realize that violence is inherent to our society. You don't have to like it, but you just have to be prepared to deal with it. So you better prepare yourself, because all it takes is one time to ruin or take your life. One time. So be prepared. Plus, the thing is, when you train like this, it raises your self-esteem level. And also, you feel good when you're sweating, training, you're burning off any anxiety and so forth. Heck, it's a great thing to do. So, there's no two ways about it. You have to learn how to take care of yourself, because no one's going to be there for you. The police takes them too long to get there. They'll never be there in time. Okay? You got to play these scenarios in your head. What if you're out with some of your friends or your family or something, and this group of degenerates comes into the restaurant and starts harassing you, starts threatening you, starts physically attacking you? What are you going to do? Are you going to try to reason with them? What are you prepared to do? How are you going to extract yourself from this situation? Have you thought about that? Has a thought entered your mind? Do you have a plan? Are you prepared? These are things you have to know. What if you're in your car and all of a sudden you're surrounded by a group? What are you prepared to do? What if you need to get to your car and you can't get to it because of these individuals? What if you find yourself in a bad situation? What if you are sitting there at a store shopping and a smash and grab gang comes in there? What are you prepared to do? How are you going to deal with that? These are reasons that you have to really learn how to protect yourself. So, what are you going to do when trouble finds you? How are you prepared? So, again, you have to take control of the situation, and the only way to do it is to train, and train like you mean it. Now, you don't have to even go to some gym. You could, or some martial arts center. There's video training series out there which are excellent. There are books. I mean, I have my book Survival Strong, and we'll be addressing several chapters from the book in the upcoming weeks. And you can get a couple of training partners and do it on your own. I also have this information posted online in video format as well. But this stuff is here to help you. You can sit there, if people want to be a detractor of me, where I say, oh, we're just out there hawking it. Yeah, well, I am. But you know what? Look at the price. It's very reasonably priced. And I'm here because I want to help out. Look, I've been successful. I've been okay. Not good to this point. I've had reasonable success in these arenas, and more importantly, many of my students and people that I trained have also met with success with these methods that are tried and true. So, folks, it's up to you. Think about the importance of the situation. Think about what you have and wanting to keep it. Think about how you're going to protect yourself. Think about how you're going to protect your family. Think about how you're prepared, and then do something about it. You have to take action, because self-protection, personal protection, is a personal responsibility. You will be responsible for yourself at the end of the day. I know I said this before, but I'll say it again. And look, I love the police. I'm a huge advocate of our police. Everyone knows this. But the police are there in minutes when seconds count. You have to be prepared to defend yourself. With that, thank you for listening. Be safe out there. Stay strong. Strength and honor.